This time
If that's a stingray, there's going to be so much bleeding.
on Sydney Harbour Force.
Am I dying?
Boating safety officers Rihanna and Luke race to a serious stingray incident
It is pretty deep and yeah, it's gone through the bone.
where a young girl's life hangs in the balance.
It's getting worse. Pretty shaken up.
Yeah, no, she's not in a good way.
Marine Rescue's Greg Urand and his crew face extreme harbour weather
The wind's swinging the boat around.
as the team try and secure a broken-down cruiser before it crashes into other vessels.
We've got to protect the two boats from hitting each other.
And the Australian Navy's largest warship
The size of this ship is a challenge in itself, particularly in a busy harbour like Sydney.
battles major engine problems
Water leakage alarm in port pod.
in the middle of the harbour.
Worst case scenario is like we crash into another ship or I run the ship aground.
Iconic Sydney Harbour. It's one of the biggest and busiest waterways on the planet.
You need to move through, please!
But behind the beauty lies a beast.
Being on the water is a dangerous place. Sydney Harbour's most unforgiving.
Am I dying?
Hands.
Keeping this giant harbour running takes an elite team.
Stop the vessel now!
Being in the water police, you never know what you're going to get.
It's a boat. Someone's sitting on the bow.
The office is the best city in the world.
Zero 6, 0606, this is Maritime Control.
Yeah, Maritime Control is 06, go ahead.
You'll need to urgently head over to quarantine under light. We have one female injured, possibly a stingray sting. She has been dragged up to the beach, but it does look like she has collapsed. So if you can please get there ASAP.
Yeah, Control 06, understood. One female with a leg laceration, possibly stingray. We're heading there under lights now. I'll notify if there's any more information. 06 here. All right, Reed, we've got a job at quarantine.
Boating safety officers Rihanna James and Luke Inglis are racing to a medical emergency at Quarantine Beach near the harbour entrance.
If that's a stingray, there's going to be so much bleeding.
Could be pretty gory, actually. We'll beach the boat, see what we can do, all right?
All right.
On average, there are around 50 stingray incidents in Australia each year. Sydney's shallow harbourside beaches have seen an increase in injuries from stingray barbs in the past 12 months.
What can you see, Ray?
Hey, there's a bit of a crowd gathering on the beach. There's a chick laying on the ground. I might just jump off, Lukey. All right, I got the first aid and defib.
All right.
An ambulance crew has been dispatched to the scene. But in the meantime, Luke and Rihanna must use their emergency first aid response training to take control of the situation.
What's your name? Laura. Laura? I'm Rihanna from Maritime Care. Yeah, we can stop the pain. Do you know what she cut her foot on? She was on the board and she tried to get off the board and put her foot down.
Did anyone see the stingray barb or part of it in her wound?
Stingrays have multiple venomous barbs located along their tail. Although they do not attack aggressively, they're known for striking if unintentionally stepped on.
Stingrays are one of the most dangerous marine animals that we have over here. They've got quite a large barb. They actually inject venom into that wound as well, and the pain is insane.
Good afternoon, my name's Luke from New South Wales Maritime. Yeah, ma'am, we've just been informed that it's possibly a stingray has sliced her leg open. It is pretty deep and it's pretty bad, and yeah, it's gone through the bone apparently. Yep, all right, no worries, ambulance will be here soon. Thanks very much, bye-bye. Stingray injuries can turn fatal. They do inject poison throughout the body. A lot is dependent on the location of that injury. On the pain scale, it is probably a 9 or 10 out of 10. I have serious concerns for this young lady at the moment.
So you've already rinsed the wound with salt water? Okay, cool.
Laura's father has flushed her wound with salt water, which helps neutralise the toxins, and applied a bandage. But Rihanna wants to raise Laura's legs to help prevent her from going into shock.
Okay, so at the moment we just need to remain calm. Okay, and just take a deep breath. You can probably go for the ocean. Here you go. You've got the blanket.
Shock is brought on by lack of blood flow or oxygen to vital organs. If left untreated, Laura is in serious danger of going into cardiac arrest.
It looks like she's gone into the early signs of shock. She's shaking, her hands are clammy. Hopefully the ambos arrive shortly.
It's going into shock bag.
Just relax.
It's getting worse. I'm scared.
Okay, sweetheart, deep breath.
Am I dying?
The ambulance is on its way.
Vessel that you've got here, we'll just need to watch that. We're going to need constant bearings to that sailing vessel. If we need, we'll just take our speed off a little bit. Just a quick check that we're comfortable with the engineering state, because with that extra sea room, that's our time to stop the ship there and not commit to the narrow part of the Western Channel unless we're comfortable with the engineering state.
The crew of the Royal Australian Navy's amphibious assault ship HMAS Canberra is heading out of Sydney Harbour to commence their first sea trial, following a 5-month refit at the Naval Dockyard.
So this week is all about assessing HMAS Canberra's ability to be safe at sea. We need to test all their emergency drills. At the end of this week, we will utter the words that HMAS Canberra is safe to proceed to sea by day and by night.
The 400 crew, of which almost half are new to the ship, will be put through a grueling 48-hour mariner skills evaluation, the first phase of months of training.
So Canberra being a landing helicopter dock, it's important that we get out there and been able to do our job and allow Adelaide, our sister ship, to get in and do her maintenance.
Sister ship HMAS Adelaide is due to dock for her major maintenance period, which means Canberra must be ready to respond to any requirements from the Australian government.
This workboat kind of in the way for our turn here. Obviously this sailing vessel shouldn't be impeding us inside this narrow channel. We've got a really good plan, however, it's probably just the unexpected things or the things that could go wrong.
Before the drills can begin at sea, Canberra's navigating officer, Lieutenant Commander Sophie Going, on exchange from the Royal New Zealand Navy, must navigate the 231-metre-long warship through the congested harbour, with less than a ship's length of safe water on either side of the shipping channel, before proceeding out to sea.
The engineering plant not following, or the pods not following exactly what has been ordered, or having an engineering failure are our two greatest risks.
We're going out for the first time with a modified engineering state, so we've taken the necessary precautions. We've done all the tests.
During the refit, Canberra's propulsion system was upgraded. 2 120-tonne propeller pods were installed at a cost of $32 million, designed to improve the ship's power and manoeuvrability. In order to pass the sea trial, it's critical the new pods perform without any problems.
First and foremost in my mind is to make sure that when we go to sea that we're aware and we've managed the risks and we're able to respond to any unknown activity that may occur. Over the last 6 months, we've gone through a refresh of personnel. We've got about 150 people who have not been to sea on this ship. There's always some element of trepidation.
We're going to try and keep our headway on, so we want about 3 knots here, just to give enough directional stability that we're not getting completely set by that wind.
As they make their way out of Australia's busiest waterway in blustery 30-kilometre-per-hour winds, Sophie and her bridge team are being assessed by Sea Training Group's fleet navigator, Tom Geraghty.
The size of this ship is a challenge in itself, particularly in a busy harbour like Sydney. She really relies on her team around her to provide the guidance on other contacts, particularly small boats or pleasure craft.
Those 2 tugs are there in case the engineering plant fails. We've got something there that's able to pull us into safe water. After that, it's just making sure that my bridge team, who are up here driving the ship, are across all the basic parts of their responsibilities so that we can prove to the fleet navigating officer that we're safe to take the ship to sea.
Even with tugs in support, if a collision on the harbour was imminent, Canberra would require 500 metres to stop, leaving Sophie with no margin for error.
Obviously, this sailing vessel shouldn't be impeding us inside this narrow channel. However, we'll continue to monitor. Westlake, just monitor bearings of the sailing vessel mainly.
So one thing to think about is when you want to cast the tugs off.
Yeah, so we're going to come around, steady up. Once we're steady, we'll let go the first.
Substation, just fault pod.
What was the fault?
An alarm has been triggered from the ship's central control station.
IPMS, I have indication of a water leakage alarm in port pods. Request that you investigate.
A fault in the new propulsion pod would affect the ship's ability to steer.
It can be quite a serious alarm. We're obviously doing set to works on a brand new pod that's been installed after the docking period.
The engineers must find and fix the fault before the ship reaches the rocky headland of the harbour entrance.
Worst case scenario is like we crash into another ship or I run the ship aground.
It's all going to be all right.
In Sydney Harbour, maritime boating safety officers Rihanna James and Luke Inglees are responding to 14-year-old Laura, who is suffering from a suspected stingray injury.
It's all good, darling. They're going to be here soon. You're doing well. Really, really great.
It's about 12, 14 minutes away.
We're just waiting for ambos for transfer for some pain relief.
Rihanna directs bystanders to move Laura to the nearest road to wait for an ambulance. Timing is critical. Laura's leg wound will need to be cleaned out in hospital to avoid prolonged release of the stingray venom.
We're keeping the foot elevated and the ambos will be able to assess it when they're closer.
Easy.
All right?
Yeah.
Breathe in.
Yeah, let's put it in the side. Put it down.
Got a pin.
All together?
Yeah.
See, the initial report is it was deep to the bone, about an inch long, and you can see bone, no skin, so something's cut it off, basically. Barbs go in, but don't they? Could have gone in and ripped out on the way back. So it's probably a ray then.
Pretty shaken up.
Yeah, no, she's not in a good way.
Heaps of pain.
Ambo's here.
The ambos are here, so it's going to be all good. You've done really well. Yeah. You've got a good pain threshold.
Good girl. That's where. Just work through it. Nice deep breaths.
Don't look dull. It's all good. You can see it later.
Can you move your foot at all? Move your toes? Someone's spurting.
The paramedics must ensure the wound is clean and free of any fragments from the stingray barb to avoid a nasty infection setting in.
What we're doing, we just want to have a look to see how deep it is. We heard something about bone issue or tissue in there.
That's like skin's peeled off.
Infection's the risk here, but you've been in salt water, which is a good thing.
When they unwrapped the bandage, we popped a bit of a view of the gash. It is hectic. So deep, and it's probably about that long.
Yeah, probably
right down to the bone.
Probably 2 inches by about inch wide. Yeah, right down the bone. You can see some white gristle in there, which is never a good sign.
You're catching up to Megan with injuries now, aren't you? Yeah? I know you don't want to, but you are.
The quick thinking from Laura's father, along with Rihanna and Luke's actions to stabilise the young girl, has helped prevent a life-threatening situation.
Thanks, mate. Appreciate your help.
Bye. Bye, Laura. See ya.
Brave young lady. How old? 14?
Yeah, 14.
Prime territory for a stingray. Shallow, sandy, ankle injury or just above the ankle, a couple of stitches.
She needs like about 20.
Job done, well done. Good response.
Bridge, we've had a report of a bilge leakage alarm on port pod. We are conducting investigations into the source of this alarm.
Inside HMAS Canberra's central control station, engineering officer James Stellett is investigating a critical fault alarm triggered in the ship's newly installed propulsion pods.
It can be quite a serious alarm to receive, indicating possibly maybe an oil leak within the pod mechanisms, or maybe we even have seawater ingress.
The twin propulsion system provides speed and direction to the ship. A malfunction of any type would put Canberra's navigating officer, Sophie Going, at increased risk of running the $1.4 billion warship aground or crashing into another vessel.
Do you also have any indications about what caused the defect?
At this stage, sir, indications of defect cause are unknown.
Yep.
Investigations are ongoing. Contractors confirm that you have full capability for port and starboard pods.
After a tense wait, the engineering team rectify the fault, confirming the propulsion system has full operational power.
So it's unknown, and what was the actual indicator? Was a seal?
Well, yeah, it was just a sealing fault that we got through on the port pod itself. So we're full functionality at this stage.
Okay.
Sophie's bridge team are given the all clear to proceed to sea and commence the next stage of their mission.
So safe for our departure.
Main intent is to continue at sea safely, and then we'll manoeuvre out and then start our trials.
I will be liaising with the commanding officer of the ship to make sure that the safety standards are met. This phase is all about mariner skills. It's getting them to a safe standard to be able to continue on with their training.
40% of the crew are new to the ship. The Royal Australian Navy's Sea Training Group will now assess them over 48 hours by putting the ship through a grueling mariner skills evaluation.
Mayday, mayday.
This is Skylark Bay. We're in trouble. We've just heard a massive bang down below, and I think we're taking on water. Over.
So all we're assessing is level 1 boarding operations, which is a first aid exercise for a stricken yacht in distress.
The first scenario is a simulated sinking vessel designed to test Lieutenant Sean Stibbard and his newly formed boarding team's emergency response.
Yeah, knowing the scenario, vessel in distress that's sinking, timing is obviously an important part. We want to get there as quickly as we can.
Training ship MV Sycamore is standing in as the stricken vessel. Sea Training Group's Executive Officer, Commander Dave Smith, is running the exercise.
So the ship will get over here, the boarding officer will assess what is going on, assess what help he can provide with his team in order to make the vessel seaworthy again. It's all about safety of life at sea.
Not even in the rib yet.
Sean's boarding party have 15 minutes to respond.
No. We've got until 10:30, so.
But 9 minutes into their first hit out of the year, the team are only just leaving the ship.
Captain's priority is personnel safety. We won't let a time pressure get in the way of us going through the motions.
Marine Rescue, Port Jackson 30, how can I help?
Just had a call from the water police. I was wondering when you can provide assistance to a vessel at Hermit Bay. It's a 32-foot sea ray. Power problems, they can't start their engine, and the informant is Toby.
We are just heading towards the Harbour Bridge, so I think we should be there in about 15 minutes.
Marine Rescue Unit Commander Greg Urand and his crew are heading to a broken-down vessel with 10 people on board, including 3 children.
All right, guys, we're on the way. We don't know whether it's at anchor or drifting, so keep your eyes out. If it's drifting, with this wind around, who knows what's going to happen.
The distressed vessel is located 15 minutes away at a popular boat mooring area in Hermit Bay.
So a 32-foot boat with engine failure presents a real problem. We don't know whether it's drifting. If it is drifting, we don't know whether it's going to potentially drift into other yachts, other boats. There's rocks around. If it hits a rock, takes on water, it could potentially sink.
It's very windy. It's just picked up.
With rising winds, Marine Rescue need to respond quickly to ensure no lives or other boats are put at risk by the drifting 7-ton sports cruiser.
There it is, to the starboard side. I can see an anchor, guys, and lots of people on board, kids included. So, guys, now that we've found it, we need to act fast.
No, the wind is pushing the boat around. They keep swiveling around anyway.
Yeah.
Owner Toby has managed to anchor his vessel, but the increased wind gusts are spinning the $200,000 cruiser around, making any rescue attempt difficult.
And they just issued a wind warning too.
Did they?
Yeah.
So the real challenge here is the wind. It's 15 knots, it's gusty. We've got to get close to this boat. We've got to get a line on at the front, a line on at the rear. We've got to protect the 2 boats from hitting each other. We're getting blown around, and this is a big challenge for us.
You just got to watch the wind, because it's going to blow you off.
So the big problem we've got now is if Toby's anchor dislodges, it could let his boat drift, and it's such a big boat, we're not sure that we could actually stop it.
This boat is just going every direction.
With no power and 10 people on board, the risk of potential injury is high if the two vessels were to collide.
The wind's swinging the boat around.
Yeah, their stern's going to swing out just as I approach. It just goes to the right, to the left. It's like a pendulum.
Straight in, let's go.
Okay.
Forward on starboard.
Wait.
Stop, bring it back.
Okay.
HMAS Canberra's newly formed boarding team are responding to a simulated sinking ship, arriving with just seconds to spare of their 15-minute deadline.
Okay, so let's go. Take control of the personnel. Take control of the personnel, move to the side. Let's go fix that fire main. Let's go.
So what's the state of play at the moment?
Oh, mate, there was an explosion. There was a big bang. All of a sudden, a hole in the boat. There's water everywhere.
Okay, yeah, we'll help you out with your problem.
Just stop the plane, please. Help me.
So this is where you start reassuring.
Naval boarding operations are an offensive tactic designed to intercept enemy vessels at sea.
Auto, bridge security.
But in peacetime, the Navy also trains to provide assistance to vessels in distress.
We've obviously got a large presence around Australia and the rest of the world, and often we are one of the most capable ships to respond to any kind of incident, whether it's a search and rescue or just another vessel that requires assistance. And we practice this kind of stuff often, so we're often a ship that's best placed to respond to emergencies.
I would suggest the way that they're tracking for this boarding is not pretty but safe.
On the upper deck of training ship MV Sycamore, Sean's team must stop a simulated leak.
Sort that fire main out, depup the vessel, you're here to save the vessel.
If they don't, the ship would sink and they would fail the task.
Repair, you got no pipe repair gear?
You don't have a banded clamping machine? You don't?
Right.
They are not tracking well at the moment because they don't have a key piece of damage control equipment with them. This is a piece of equipment that they should actually have with them when they get on board.
Alarm, alarm, alarm. Close alarm activated. 7C fire and emergency party, muster and investigate.
Back on HMAS Canberra, there's now smoke billowing out of the ship's laundry. The ship's standing sea fire emergency team is called in to put out a simulated blaze.
Okay, your extinguishers aren't suppressing the fire. So the fire is still growing. Weight coming on. Don't clip the end of the tray.
All right, we cleared it.
Our team are here to break the world record for the largest flying video screen under a helicopter ever. It is to launch a movie, but it's some pretty fun content, yeah.
Media entrepreneur Ryan Osborne is racing to transport a huge $1 million TV screen across Sydney Harbour as part of a publicity stunt for an international advertising client.
We have 3.5 hours because the helicopters can only perform this type of operation during daylight hours. Definitely pre-event nerves just starting to creep in now. This is thousands of man hours and millions of dollars. So that's an expensive telly. It's the only one in the world.
To achieve this world record-breaking stunt, Ryan's team must transport the 6-metre television screen on a barge to Farm Cove before a Huey helicopter will connect and airlift the 600-kilogram screen to display a TV advertisement in the skies above the harbour.
It takes 3/4 of an hour to get there, so if we're still here in an hour, I'll be cracking whips. There's always a watch ticking in the background. Our deadline is the sunset.
Polaris Marine tugboat captain Mark Tallerwood must tow the barge into position before the sunset deadline.
Just to let you know, I'm going to be bringing the tug around and strapping it up to the back of the barge.
If we get delayed and we miss that golden hour, that's just going to make the footage look rubbish. So everything has to go right.
So you're happy with the way the TV's set up and it's not gonna move?
Yeah, no, she's strapped down, she's going nowhere. Gentlemen, you have 5 minutes before we're departing. This barge must leave.
Okay, mate, all lines clear, clear stunt.
Lines all clear, thanks.
Now we're moving. Here we go.
Navigating the barge under the iconic Harbour Bridge and past the Sydney Opera House are the first obstacles to reaching their final position.
So you see this? This is the orientation that I want it. So the barge facing east-west.
You got that vessel there in Farm Cove now? That's probably going to stop you up a bit. That's roughly where you want to be.
That is exactly where we want to be.
Yeah.
We've got a helicopter lift job and a permit to be here.
A super yacht is anchored where Ryan and Mark need to park the barge, and with the helicopter in the air running on limited fuel, any delay could see the pilots having to abandon the whole operation, costing thousands of dollars to reschedule.
I hope they're on there and there's somebody to actually talk to.
We have an aerial event right where your position is where we are planning on anchoring this barge. Is it possible for you to move either to another location or further in the bay?
Yeah, mate, I can't go further into the bay.
If tug captain Mark can't convince the super yacht to relocate, Ryan will miss his deadline and the expensive stunt won't go ahead.
I just have the owner on board. She's quite fond of this location.
I have a schedule at sunset, which is in 2 hours from now. So this holds me up.
Set smoke boundaries forward frame 2610 neck. DC priority remains to investigate source of smoke.
HMAS Canberra's Standing Sea Fire Emergency Team must investigate a simulated fire in the ship's laundry.
We have no support services to contact at sea, so we're responsible for our own ship.
Sea Training Group's Chief Petty Officer, Kieran Davis, is looking to see how quickly the response team can locate, isolate and control the simulated fire.
We have standard times we have to achieve due to the life cycle of the fire. We have to have a breathing apparatus team in here with portable appliances within 3 minutes.
Dewatering is not effective. Over 75 centimetres in the hull, okay, and it's starting to feel unstable on board.
Back on training ship Sycamore, Canberra's boarding team have failed to contain the simulated leak on board the sinking vessel.
Starting to give the stimulus that the vessel probably isn't able to be saved and trying to prompt the boarding officer to make the decision that we can't stay on board.
Unsustainable. We have to get off. Given it's a new team, first time doing this for over 6 months, it's a good training hit out to get everyone back in the groove.
Overall, they went quite well. So for a first effort, not a bad run out, not a bad hit out. A lot of training aims, a lot of debrief points, but overall, clunky but safe.
After making the right decision to abandon the sinking vessel, Sean's boarding team head back to the Canberra, where the crew has responded quickly to the ship's laundry fire.
Where's your mate? Where's your teammate? Okay, you follow the smoke in. Okay, you can see an A-class fire in the back corner. You can see smouldering and excessive smoke.
In 1998, the Royal Australian Navy lost 4 crew members who perished in an engine room fire at sea. It became one of the worst peacetime disasters for the Navy in modern times.
We've lost people from this sort of stuff before, and that's why we make sure that we're on top of it every time we sail. We make sure the ship can look after itself before we send it away on operations.
The crew must pass this final test before Canberra can be deemed operationally ready to return to sea.
You're not seeing any suppression of the fire. It's actually building.
Forward on starboard.
Wait.
Stop. Bring it back.
Oh!
Marine Rescue's Greg Urand and his crew have collided with a broken-down cruiser as strong wind gusts wreak havoc across the harbour. Luckily, no one is injured and there's no damage to either vessel.
So the problem we've got is that it's incredibly windy. It's about 15 knots and it's gusty. We've got to get ourselves attached to this boat. It's rocking, so we've got to get in there. We've got to get our lines on at the front, lines on at the rear.
That wind's tripping.
All ships, Marine Rescue Sydney. The following wind warnings are in effect.
Stop, bring it back. That's it.
Ooh, all right.
Yeah, that's it, that's it. Forward on starboard. The wind's blowing us this way. Save you doing any damage, we'll head back with you. We're doing a long tow all the way.
Despite strong wind warnings in place, Greg must tow the vessel back to its mooring. But owner Toby is unable to retrieve his anchor.
He's in 20 metres of water. His anchor's down there. He hasn't got an electric winch. He's got to manually pull that up. In these winds, it's a very, very tough job. So now we've got no other option but to come up alongside him, put him into a tug tow. The challenge is this wind, I don't want the two boats to collide. We can't afford to have it damaged.
Reverse, reverse, reverse. We're on, stop the boat.
Stopping boat.
A tug tow involves connecting ropes alongside the broken down vessel to help manoeuvre it forward to release the anchor line.
He's got to wind it up with using his hands. It's a tough job on any day, but in this wind it's even harder because the boat's pulling around, the anchor's stuck.
You can see it? Hey, guys!
Anchor away!
Straight out, Claire. That's good news.
With the anchor dislodged from the harbour sea floor, Claire needs to ensure both vessels remain well clear of other boats nearby.
Hold on. You're on? Okay. Good to go now. We're good to go. Idle ahead. That was very hectic.
The wind was blowing against us, so we had to get some forward movement to make it easier for them. That's one of the tougher assists I've had to be involved with, I can tell you that for sure.
Crisis averted, but no sooner is the family returned safely to their mooring.
Port Jackson 30, Port Jackson 30, this is Marine Rescue Sydney, over.
Sydney, this is Port Jackson 30, go ahead, over.
Greg receives another emergency call for assistance.
We have a vessel, a motorboat, broken down midway between Middlehead and Northhead. There's 3 boys on board, all of them are age 16, over.
The 3 teenagers have broken down in the busy ferry channel near the harbour entrance and are now completely exposed to the full force of the Pacific Ocean.
Certainly we are available for that assist, over. I'm concerned about the fact that there's 3 16-year-olds. One of the risks we face out at North Head or South Head is the tide, the swell, the weather conditions. There is every chance they could end up going into the rocks, and that could be potentially devastating for them.
Yeah, that vessel's really in the way there, isn't it?
That is exactly where we want to be. So can they move it?
Media entrepreneur Ryan Osborne's attempt to fly the world's largest double-sided TV screen over Sydney Harbour for a marketing campaign has been compromised by a large super yacht, which is parked in the middle of the launch zone.
Yeah, we're going to need a 200-metre exclusion zone around the barge.
Should have the owner on board quite far at this location.
Talking to the heli boys, they can't do this lift unless they've got 75 metres clearance.
I have a schedule of sunset.
Tug Captain Mark Tallerwood has less than an hour to position the barge so the flight team can rig the 6-metre TV screen and make ready for its sunset launch.
I expect that boat will be gone within half an hour.
I have a feeling like it was going to take longer than half an hour.
If the luxury yacht can't be moved, the stunt will have to be abandoned, costing thousands of dollars to reschedule.
This is a pain in the bum.
Yeah, go ahead.
Sorry for the delay. Just taking us a ticket to get our engines cranked over, and then we'll anchor up and get out of your way.
Awesome, mate. I really appreciate that. Thank you very much. They can go wherever they want, just outside of 200 metres.
We are on like King Kong.
We've got Joel on the winch there, paying out the anchor. Then I've got Morgan there giving me the direction of showing me where the anchor is.
With the super yacht out of the area, tug skipper Mark manoeuvres the barge into position.
So you have to leave the barge here then?
Yep.
Okay, all right.
All right, so we're happy with this position. So the helicopter will come in down the far end, nose towards us, pick up, and then straight up.
So we're just liaisoning with pilots and that and make sure that they're happy with their position. And then we'll disconnect the tug, and then we're ready to go.
All right, so we're going to aim to be lifting at 7.
Look what's coming in, just past Port Denison.
So we've currently got a helicopter come in to enjoy the show, and he's not part of our activation.
They're in our operating area, we can't lift.
Unbelievably, another helicopter has entered the harbour's airspace, and now Ryan's Huey chopper can't approach and conduct the lift until the area is clear.
4 minutes until our Huey is inbound. Hello, mate. Can you do the call around and see if anybody else booked a helicopter? Because this guy is preventing our lift from happening. They are deep inside our operational area. 2 minutes. Well, I don't know who he is.
I'm concerned about the fact that there's 3 16-year-olds. One of the risks we face out at North Head or South Head is the tide, the swell, the weather conditions. There is every chance they could end up going into the rocks, and that would be that could be potentially devastating for them.
Hey, is that something there?
Marine rescuer searching for a motorboat with 3 young teenagers on board, which is broken down in a busy ferry lane near the harbour entrance.
Hello? Jasper?
Hi.
Whereabouts exactly are you? How far from the heads?
We're close to... Connie, do you know what that beach is?
Sorry, say again?
The boys on board are struggling to pinpoint their exact location, making it difficult for the crew to find them.
If the conditions are worse than this, it can be very treacherous out here. We think we can see you. I'm just going to put our red and blue lights on as an indicator.
Yeah, okay, there you are.
It is them?
You can see us with
a
red and blue lights.
I think that might be them, yeah? Dead ahead?
Good thing is they're wearing life jackets. Hey, guys, what we'll do is we'll throw this line to you, and once we've got the line connected, if you can take up your anchor, then we're going to hook you up and take you back. OK?
There we go.
Good catch. All right, idle ahead, Claire. Watch the Manly ferry coming.
Seen.
With the stricken vessel anchored right in the middle of the main ferry channel, Greg must race to get the boat under tow as quickly as possible.
Get that connected as soon as you can to the hook underneath. No closer, Claire. OK, hook that on. Excellent. Right, now take up your anchor. Have you got steering?
Yeah.
Steer behind us if you can. And off to Hermit's Bay. They're very, very lucky. You know, we did have the Manly ferry go past. That could have caused some issues. It could have been a whole lot worse for them.
Okay, guys, you see flames in the back corner of this compartment, A-class fire. You've got smoke in the roof, and the smoke layers start to fall.
On board Canberra, the crew are tackling a simulated fire in the ship's laundry.
The reason we practice this so often is because we consider it a basic mariner skill. Obviously, when we separate from the wharf, then we have no further support from any shore support services. So we are responsible for our own safety, whether that be fire, flood, or a toxic hazard. So we practice these on a regular basis because a fire at sea, if we don't control it properly, could spread throughout the ship, and we could end up with a complete loss of asset and lives. Fire's out.
Fire in the laundry has been extinguished.
The fire drill wraps up an exhaustive 48-hour sea trial.
Okay, shipmates, we've just completed our mariner skills evaluation.
And as the ship returns to Sydney Harbour, the 400 crew assemble to learn their fate from the commander of Sea Training Group.
Okay, so the commanding officer and I have just agreed the HMAS Canberra is safe to proceed to sea by day and by night by yourselves. So that's a big achievement. So congratulations for passing your mariner skills evaluation today.
All right, shipmates, give yourselves a round of applause. Well done.
It's nice to get the initial part of our sea time done and dusted and to have the tick in the box from Sea Training Group that they've got the confidence that we're able to take the ship safely to sea.
So they're not going to come in until that helicopter disappears. This guy is preventing our lift from happening. They are deep inside our operational area. Well, I don't know who he is. They're not with us. What can I say, Matt? I'm going to call the media people, see if it's them.
Media entrepreneur Ryan has just 10 minutes until their sunset window to launch the giant promotional TV screen closes. But a rogue chopper continues to occupy their airspace.
I don't know who he is or how to reach him, but somebody needs to find the appropriate method.
That's a bit of a tough spot, especially when someone's telling you they're with you and they're part of your event, but they're not.
Looks like he might be departing now. They've got the message and they're being told by the tower to hold off. So, we got 1 minute till showtime. I can hear a Huey.
With the rogue helicopter gone, Ryan's Bell UH-1 Huey chopper can now enter to lift the screen.
Come on. Come on, baby. Come on.
This is the peak pressure moment. This is when all the riggers have to do their bit.
Look at that.
With the Huey overhead and the lifting line attached, the screen can now take to the air.
Pretty amazing. Pretty amazing. There it is, the world's first ever double-sided flying helicopter-towed video screen.
Good to see all this happening in fruition. See all the time spent organising this and the logistics behind it and finally seeing it happen.
Should probably start coming down now. This is the final stage of the operation. This is where the pilot needs to land that screen back on the barge. The barge has got slow little movements with the water. So the ground crew are going to grab it and they're going to manhandle it back down onto the blocks. Come on, boys. Stay safe. Amazing. To pull off something like that, everybody needs to be on the same page. And we did it. Very happy.